Propaganda. Noun. Information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a particular cause, doctrine, or point of view. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, especially in the way that it's portrayed in Hazbin Hotel. Of all the reviews and video essays I've seen covering the show and season 2, not one has really bothered to mention this, because yes, through the character of Vox, there are quite a few instances of propaganda being used, and I'd be willing to bet that you, in some form or fashion, actually fell for it. Now, I would like to preface this by saying that I am not a scholar when it comes to political science, nor am I an expert of any sort. But if you're like me, then chances are you grew up learning about propaganda in junior high and high school, and the ways in which it can be weaponized. And if you haven't been taught that yet, hit up your history teacher and ask them why. And if it isn't even a part of the curriculum, ask why even harder. My point being, I was taught about this when I was still in school. So while I was watching season 2 of Hazbin Hotel, it didn't take me very long to recognize it. However, the more I thought about it, and the more videos I saw covering the show, the more I started to realize that if this was real life, and we were actually a member of the crowd at Vox's rally in season 2, if we were a part of this world, I probably would have been right there standing alongside these other sinners, cheering for Vox, and I'd also be willing to bet that you would be right there along with me, joining in. I want you to picture this for a moment. Imagine, hypothetically, I came on here and announced that I would be running for president in 2028. Just so we're clear, I'm not even old enough to run, but let's just pretend for now, okay? I, Blue Raven 666, am running for the office of President of the United States, and I'm throwing my hat in the ring simply because I want to. Now I want you to imagine that's all there was to my campaign. I'm running for president simply because I want to be president. That's my entire motivation, to be one of the most powerful and influential figures in the entire world. The economy, healthcare, gun laws, minorities and marginalized groups. I don't care about any of that. I'm not in it to bring about change or equality or to make life any easier for anyone else. I just want my butt in the Oval Office because that's what I want, and I think I deserve that. Come 2028, would you vote for that? Chances are, probably not. Chances are no one would. And chances are my opposition and the mainstream media would have a field day with my ass. Now riddle me this. In season 2 of Hazbin Hotel, why does Vox want to be a god? Hell, not just a god, but the god, the supreme ruler of heaven, hell, and the earth. It's not because he thinks the OG G-Man himself is doing a bad job. It isn't because he actually sees the pain and the struggles of his fellow sinners and thinks that they deserve better. Hell, it's not even because of heaven or the exterminations. No. Much like in the hypothetical scenario I just pitched to you about me wanting to become president, Vox wants to become a god because he's a narcissist with an insatiable lust for power, fueled only by his past as a cult leader and by his rivalry with Alistair. Vox wants to be a god solely because he wants that kind of power. Now imagine what would happen if Vox walked out onto that stage and that was the only leg that his own campaign had to stand on. I imagine, without his hypnosis ability, Vox's plan would be dead on arrival, and Alistair would be having the best night of his afterlife. Facts are that rallying for a chance at ultimate power simply because you want it doesn't really work. That's why presidential candidates find various causes to support and issues to address that they promise to fix, because that's how you build support. Even when they make promises that you know, I know, they know, we all know they won't be able to deliver upon, or they don't really care about delivering upon, at the very least we can say that they stood for something. At least we felt seen as a people for 5 minutes. The same thing can be applied to Vox. I'm sure in the world of Hazbin Hotel, Vox knows that his own narcissism and desire for power isn't enough to get Hell on his side all on its own. That's why one of the most crucial things that he does for his campaign is center it around Lilith's resistance against Heaven. Immediately, this move makes his ambition seem noble in the eyes of the sinners in the crowd. Just like that, one of them could say, he doesn't want to be a god simply because he wants to, he just wants better for himself and the denizens of Hell, same as Lilith did. And right there we have our first instance of propaganda being portrayed in the show. Vox dressing up his own ambitions as a continuation of Lilith's resistance. But it goes further than just that, because how in the 9 circles of Hell could Vox have ever hoped to ascend to godhood when he isn't even the most powerful sinner in Hell? Because that title belongs to none other than Alistair, and it would seem that there are many sinners and overlords all across Hell that know that. Let's go back to our little hypothetical for just a moment. I'm running for the office of President of the United States in 2028. I'm still just doing it because I want to, but I've managed to find causes that I say I support and issues that I say I'm going to address, and I've managed to build a fairly respectable campaign for myself. There are people who are looking at my bid, and I've got them feeling a little bit hopeful. Then all of a sudden, J.D. Vance steps out and completely destroys me on the debate stage. All of a sudden, my campaign doesn't seem quite as strong now, does it? But if we were to turn the tables, and I actually managed to beat out J.D. Vance on the debate stage, to the extent that he were to drop out of the race entirely, well then that looks a whole lot different then, doesn't it? Ohio would be mad as hell though, because I am from Michigan. Now this may not be an exact comparison, but I imagine that this was the level of clout Vox managed to gain for himself in episode 4 when Alistair voluntarily handed himself over and allowed himself to be captured. Even though it was all a part of a much bigger plan on Alistair's part, Alistair himself stated that this move was him joining in as a part of Vox's what? Vox's little propaganda parade. The propaganda? Vox defeating and capturing the most powerful sinner in Hell, making Vox look even more powerful and capable by comparison. Not only did this move improve Vox's street credit, but it also made room for him to gather the support of multiple other overlords to get them to back up his cause, some of them willingly, some of them reluctantly, but all of whose support allowed Vox's plans to rapidly accelerate. Episode 5, in general, just pushes everything into Vox's favor. Not only does he have a solid cause he's able to dress up his own ambitions as to get the rest of Hell to rally behind, but he also has the most powerful sinner in Hell as a prisoner, dragging Alistair's name through the mud for all of Pentagram City to see. And then Lucifer shows up, which, thanks to Vox's hypnotizing of angel dust and getting him to spy on the hotel for him, just winds up handing Vox another W on a silver platter. And honestly, this is just standard political crap. You know, pointing out every single thing that the party in charge is doing or has done wrong, or painting it in a light that makes them look cruel, dishonest, or incompetent by comparison. And unfortunately, because Vox knows he's not in any real danger here, and thus isn't afraid of him, there isn't anything that Lucifer is able to do about it. Hell, Vox even goes a step further and briefly paints Lucifer as being just as much of a victim of Heaven's oppression as the rest of them. But the cherry on top of all this, the point where you, the viewer, most likely also fell for Vox's propaganda, the gift basket scene, when Sarah and the other angels come down to Hell with gift baskets in an attempt to apologize for the exterminations. You know, as viewers of the show, we're given the luxury of being able to see this situation from all sides. Yes, the gift baskets do make the apology feel shallow, but we also know that the angels, minus Lute, are trying to be sincere in their apology. Sarah does feel remorse for allowing the exterminations to take place, for not knowing that redemption was even possible, and for all of the souls that are now and forever lost as a result. The angels do mean well and are making the attempt to set things right. They just have no idea how to go about it. This is what inspired me to make this video. I've seen and heard so many people say that in this moment, Vox was literally right, when that's not entirely true. Remember, Vox is not rallying the sinners against heaven because he cares. He's not striving to achieve godhood because he disagrees with the exterminations. He's not doing any of this because he lost a loved one in the exterminations. He doesn't give two shits about heaven, hell, angels, sinners, or Lilith's cause. He makes that abundantly clear at the end of the season. All he cares about is securing ultimate power for himself and one-upping Alistair. That's it. The way I see it, every last one of you who said that in this moment Vox was right fell for his propaganda. Are gift baskets an appropriate apology for genocide? No, but again, that's not what Vox is about. He doesn't care about any of that. The angel's coming down to hell with gift baskets, and the moment Sarah loses her patience with him is nothing more than the final bit of leverage that Vox needed in order to get the crowd on his side. Despite knowing this situation from all sides, if only slightly, you still fell for the propaganda. And I would say that this is strong evidence that shows that no one is immune to propaganda, because this is real life, and in real life, we don't always have the luxury of being able to see a certain situation from all sides. We don't always have the luxury of knowing a person's true motives, and how their allies feel, and how their opposition feels, and what cause they might be hiding their true intentions and motives behind in order to get people on their side. In all likelihood, if Hazbin Hotel was for real, every last one of us would just be another sinner standing in this crowd singing Praise Vox along with everybody else. Anyways, that'll be all for this video, you guys. Thank you for watching. I should not be left alone with my thoughts for too long. This is the type of shit that happens. Let me know what you thought about this video down in the comment section below. Press all the buttons, and I promise I won't be quite as political next time. My name is Blue Raven 666, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!